YouTube, it's Brad Phillips. Look at this. We've got the Sirius 80mm. Again, this is gonna be a revisit. We haven't seen it for a little bit. Of course, it comes with flaps and it comes with all sorts of LEDs and actually just nav lights, but they work really good. And then these trailing link rather, equipped landing gear, which are very solid. We'll do a little ground handling and then take off for you. And we're gonna do some flying. Hopefully we'll get through 2 packs, but we've been waiting for the sun to crest the hill so that we can get some good lighting. Okay, here goes nothing, folks. Okay, you ready?
Mm-hmm.
Full throttle. Look how quick she gets off the ground. Gear going up. Rock solid flight performance as usual. Takeoff flaps coming back, and look at that bright light.
Mm-hmm.
Makes it so easy to see. I'm gonna try to do some slow flight performance for you. I haven't done much of that yet. As you can see, she'll bite you if you turn too slow, folks. But she's got the power. My battery is so pissed at me right now. I'm trying to show you flight performance that's slow. It's so quiet tonight.
I know.
Except for me.
Yep.
Takeoff flaps, landing flaps. Here we go, guys. Full power, getting some speed, and there we go, guys. Look at that thing. Coming down, we're gonna do a high-speed pass here. You good?
Yep.
That felt a little bit doggy. We're gonna try again. Oh, by the way, 50C pack here. 5006S Smart Pack.
What's your timer on this one?
4 minutes.
Okay.
But we do have voltage. We have nominal voltage only because this is an AR637. Did I say that right? AR637. And it's a T, it's not a TA, because this one has the barometer. If we wanted it, we could have Vario. By the way, in case you guys were wondering, that new sign over there is the squiggly road sign. It literally looks like a squiggly intestinal tract. And I'm like, wait, hold on, where's the squiggly road?
Yep.
Are the squiggles right here, or is that further down the road? Because I can tell you right now, that's a pretty straight road. I know from experience, folks. And for those of you who are car enthusiasts, yes, it is longer than a quarter mile. Not that I would know anything about that. Based on my previous experiences in life, I'm sure you guys trust me to be a very speed limit abiding citizen.
Sorry.
Unless it's radio controlled and it goes 200 miles an hour. And then I could throw caution to the wind. Real slow here, guys, real slow. Oh yeah, baby. Out of the flaps, into the full throttle. We're at 1 minute 25 out. We're gonna bring it back and rip it down. A little bit of rudder there on that turn. Guys, if you haven't seen harvest in your life, that corn over there is about ready to be taken out of the field. It's very cool. It is October 8th. We don't often talk about the timing of our videos just because we never know quite when they're gonna be publishing. We are gliding still, by the way. See how fast we get into the throttle? This thing just keeps going. Oh, it's crazy. Did you see the wash from the turbulence on the elevator?
Mm-hmm.
The swept wing design on this plane is a little bit questionable at times under high G loading. So you gotta be a little bit careful. Don't get yourself into a high-speed stall like it just about did there. As you know, I gotta watch out for the, whatever that no passing zone sign is. And then also we always gotta keep an eye out for the squiggly road sign. So takeoff, landing, and gear. Guys, the gear on this plane are awesome. Look at it slow down. Look at it slow down. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, and and flare. Ooh, that was bouncy wouncikins. But you know what? I haven't flown this plane in a couple months. We have been so booked solid with tons of other planes. It's been amazing and great. And also, we've been busy with some other projects we can't talk about yet. And those projects will be talked about soon. Give us till the beginning of November and we will share. But look at that beauty, guys. Look at that thing. Man, it just looks so good. I must say, this plane, it has so much going for it. I feel like it'd be pretty sweet to have crow. I feel like you could slow it down a little bit better. And it slows down really good just with the inboard flaps. But man, you feel that wind blowing at us? That's just crazy. 80 millimeters, I've heard some people that are doing cheaters to increase the throughput on that body. And the other thing too, I've been thinking about, and I just keep forgetting to do it. Oh, by the way, okay, so with taxi time, we were at 5 minutes there, okay guys? So we're gonna look at our voltage real quick on the telemetry. Jeez, that isn't right. 22.2. So we're actually doing very good. So I'm happy with the way that plane performed. Let's go ahead and show you the full smart telemetry, or excuse me, not the smart telemetry. We're gonna bring out the XBC battery checker, and we're gonna try to get one more flight. And I'm just noticing, if you guys wanna save your planes, notice rocks like this. This rock will get sucked into that EDF and it will destroy it, just so you know. They were paving the cemetery, or repaving the cemetery the other day. They did asphalt in it, and it was super nice because we went over there with the bikes and the kids and all that. And okay, so if you have an XBC battery checker, as you can see, AR637T, it's a great receiver. To be perfectly frank, you can do it with the AR631 just fine on this plane. Save a few bucks if you want. But I like the AR637T because then we can bring in this port for voltages. Look at that, 3.73, that isn't bad at all. 4 minutes of hard flying time. I mean, it's not like I was being nice on that at all. Now, one of the things that we have found to be true of all good jets is it's easy to get batteries in and out. Most jets are terrible, even the most cool jets. Let me give you a case in point. A10. Speaking of harvest, here comes one of the semis.
I'll pause.
Okay, you're gonna pause? Okay, so speaking of the A10, great plane, flies on 6S. If you run a 4,000 in there, you are squeezing that thing in. And by the way, best A10 I've ever had for loading a battery, and it's still terrible.
Yeah.
F-16, 70 millimeter, case in point. You pretty much got to modify that thing to get the battery to fit. So just keep in mind, oh, this is a 100C pack, just to give you an idea, 5000 6S 100C. This thing does chew through batteries. It likes to eat them. So I would highly recommend, if you have a high C rating on your packs, use the higher C ratings, and you can see right where we're putting this. This thing weighs within about, I think it was like 10 or 12 grams to the 50C Gen 2 pack. This happens to be a Gen 1. We got the balance lead there. I have nothing bad to say about Gen 1 packs, by the way. The only advantage I find with the Gen 2 guys, and Spectrum, Horizon probably wouldn't like this, but the truth is, I don't care if they're Gen 2 or if they're Gen 1. It doesn't matter to me. The big thing is, it's nice to have that auto start, but to be perfectly frank, you can set your menu so that it auto starts anyway. So I've been very happy with the Gen 1 packs. I've been very happy with the Gen 2 packs. So if you're tight on budget and you want to still get the advantages of the smart packs, go ahead and just get the Gen 1, who cares? Or if the Gen 2's out, don't worry, you're not going to be missing out on much, okay? 4 minutes, timer's cleared. Don't forget to clear your timer, guys. So this plane, it just flies rock solid. So we're gonna do one more flight. As you can see, we're clear. And by the way, you guys, for those of you wondering how busy this road is, the only time there's any traffic on this road is about 3 or 4 times a night for harvest. And then when people are dying, going to the cemetery. And then there's about 20 cars. And it's not like they sneak up on you. Oh, or if there's like 250 tractors.
Yeah.
That does happen too. 100C, as you guys can see, doesn't look like there's a huge change. By the way, that's full throttle, straight up vertical, using a rudder to get that nose pointed at us. Out of the throttle, just gliding now. Look how long this thing will glide. Just amazing. By the way, that's about 900 feet that we just passed from where we are to where I turned. We have 655 feet of frontage on our property on the front, and it narrows back a little bit, but just to give you an idea of this, the space we have here, 1,220 feet from the intersection, from the T intersection to about here. I'm gonna show you what 1,220 feet looks like on this XFly. Here we go, guys. Really fast, high-speed pass. Trying to make some road / XFly babies there. That is 1,220 feet, folks. That is a long ways going 100 miles an hour in a plane that is relatively small. 80 millimeter EDF, full speed, full throttle, rock solid, no problems. For those of you who want to fly this but you haven't, they're in stock. That's why we're bringing it up again. Bitco Hobby has been our go-to source for XFly right now. We're very, very happy with Bitco's service. They've had a little bit of a revamp on the website, it sounds like. We just kind of found out about it last night, so we're updating some of our links, so thank you for being patient with us when we do those things. Okay, here we go, full throttle. Look at this thing. Just love it, folks. It's so much fun to do high-speed passes with these jets. Listen to that scream, folks. You gotta give your battery some time to recover. I'm at 1 minute 42 left on our timer. Let's do some touches. Right in front of us here, okay? Gear coming out. There's no reason to rush it. They do come out pretty quick on this plane, but they're not so fast it looks fake. Okay, so just relaxing into it, just giving it tons of room. Okay, full landing flaps coming in. Look at the attitude of the plane. Absolutely no problems. So when I say the attitude of the plane, I mean, the plane actually puts its nose down just a hair on full landing flaps, which is just so cool. We're way over there, by the way, on the manned aircraft. Probably a half a mile away. And they're at altitude too. Okay, full landing flaps here. See that, guys, what I'm talking about? Look how nice that thing lands. Unless you bounce it, then it lands bad. But you see those trailing link wheels and gear are just rock solid. You haven't even done a loop. Here we go. I can tell you one thing about this plane too. It flies so good, it makes it look easy, and it really pretty much is with an AR-637 or an AR-631, maybe even a 630. You'll have AS3X and safe if you choose to want it. Full landing flaps, gear coming, or they are already down actually. There we go, guys. Little wingtip drag just for extra excitement. This is where thrust reverse would be kind of handy, don't you think? Mm-hmm. Because look at that rollout. Gosh, I didn't flare it. What I should have done is I should have brought it down with takeoff flaps only and then basically gone about flaring a little bit more. Okay, so look how nice and tight you can turn that thing on the ground. No problem at all. Red is right returning, folks. Yeah, we're good. Mm-hmm. I had to kind of make sure we didn't have a visitor. Guys, this plane is a really, really solid plane. I like the way it looks. It's grown on me a lot since the first review. Love the way the gear work. Love the way the fan works. It sounds amazing for being an 80 millimeter. It sounds bigger than it is.
It was an easy build.
Oh,
like
super
if you haven't
easy.
watched that, this is the first you've seen it.
Yep.
Just super solid.
Yep, go back in the playlist, guys. We always link to the playlist at the end of the videos. And I know a lot of you guys are wondering how we did our setup. And if you need help with that, we are here to help you with that exact process. Okay, so I'm just gonna taxi it back. We're 1 minute 17 past. That includes our rolling around the ground. Telemetry shows 22 volts on the pack. 22 volts nominal is a very good voltage to end a flight with an EDF on. I would have no problems with that, recommending that you do that, 22.1. Now, because this only gets measurements through a micro pH connector on a telemetry input on the AR-637T, you will not get all the balance. But as you can see from the other battery, you might as well go ahead and show them the balance. I'm not even gonna plug in this. I'm just gonna plug in the balance lead.
Oh, okay.
This is one advantage to the Gen 1, folks. If you're into Gen 1, or if you've already got Gen 1 and you don't wanna upgrade yet, that's fine. I wouldn't upgrade until the batteries were dead, meaning you crashed them. Okay, so the leads are short on some of the smaller packs. Okay, so we're at 3 point, here, I'll bring you around. Is that good? Mm-hmm. Okay, good. All right, so we've got really nice balance. That last cell was at 3.68, the rest were at 3.72. And of course, there's some recovery time. When you go in for a really high speed climb and you're carrying a lot of inertia and you go up like that, you're gonna still draw a lot of current. But the thing is, especially on takeoff, if you go straight into a climb like that, you're gonna load that thing more than you're gonna load it in any other circumstance, with the exception of if you have an Avian ESC and you do thrust reverse, and then you're gonna be blowing like crazy because it's super inefficient in reverse and you've got things actually trying to stop that prop, or the, in this case, the fan. So when you do that, get up there, do your maneuver, and then get out of the throttle for a few seconds. Let it relax, let it cool, and you will help save your batteries and your ESC. It's not like I'm a really good example of that. Sometimes I stay on the power for way too long, but I love the way that this plane flies in that manner. One thing I've noticed is that when you get into a high G flat turn, you will make wash and you will lose elevator authority a little teeny bit, and you'll get into these like weird like scoots. And the reason I know that it's not just me, I don't think it's AS3X, because we are just dead calm right now. Show them the flag. There's just like no movement, and we can't feel anything. It's just dead calm. And the best flag that you can have is the tassels on the corn and then all of those leaves. I mean, this stuff, when it gets to being windy, you can see it swaying around, and it's actually really nice because you get to see exactly where the wind is. It's really cool. So that means it's a little bit hard to see at this time of night, but you can see it during the day. That being said, this plane flies great. I highly recommend it. I think the AR637 TA or T, if you have to take it out of a bind and fly that you crashed, I think that that might be just a touch overkill for this plane. I don't know that you need it. It is definitely better if you're plugging in other telemetry devices as opposed to the 630, which is not technically full range telemetry. I've never actually noticed a difference, but technically the 631, 630, I believe, is what they call flyby telemetry. So it's possible that if you're way out there, you may not get full telemetry data. I don't know. I've never really bought into that because I've never lost it, but I also fly in relatively tight quarters. Some of you guys might go way out there and way back. This thing has worked really good. Also, you do get a full true diversity in 10 on the AR637, but I don't think it makes that big of a difference in this type of application, because even though it's very fast and it will get away from you quickly, I mean, it's still only so big. It's not like this is a 3-meter glider or a 2.5-meter glider where you're just way out there. So love the way the plane flies. Love the trailing link landing gear. Love the way that they designed this plane, because like everything where there's plastic, where the wings join together, plastic where the wings join together, everything has got smooth edges on it. I think we had one problem with the build, and that was we had trouble getting one servo wire to kind of make the turn. Beyond that, it was rock solid. Look how long this tip is, the protective area here, and then this drops on and it's just a nice tight fit, and it seams all the way around. Be careful with any jets that have removable noses like this for magnets, because you will go to grab it one day and you will drop your plane, so be careful. Also, I want to talk about the strength of the wings. There's a little bit of flex, which I think looks cool. I don't know if that plays into the washout when you're doing those high G maneuvers here and you've got almost the oopsikins into the corn. I don't know if you guys saw that on the first flight. I hope you did, because we don't try to hide behind our mistakes. We own them. I came up here and I was going really pretty slow, and I made a turn at very low altitude, and it was right about here. And that thing, I felt like I was going to lose it, and there was a very big butt clenchy moment there. But I got into the throttle, Johnny on the spot. That's one thing about EDFs too. If you're new to EDFs, this probably wouldn't be the best plane for you necessarily. But the thing is, this cheater, I think there needs to be a little bit more. That'd be great. It's not hard to add a cheater. It's called an X-Acto knife and 20 minutes. And you just cut a little bit bigger here and a little bit bigger there. And maybe you mimic that thing up here too, actually, so you can get a little bit of cooling on your pack. It is harder to make it look as nice as they make it look, full disclosure. Yeah. I mean, I've usually cut them with a brand new X-Acto knife if it's gonna be a finish cut. And then if it doesn't work out good, I'll take I get a bunch of these 20,000 shims at work for these installs that I do. And so I've got like tons of them. And I will heat those up with a torch, and I'll go in there and smooth the edges. And what that does is that hardens the foam. The foam will expand, and it gets hard. And then if you need to, you can even trim it or sand it at that point. It sands clean then. But you will discolor it sometimes. So just love the way this thing looks. Everything is just really tight on it. It doesn't, you know, well, also look at this plastic around the inlet. I love the inlets. They're so scale looking. There's so many things about this plane that are right. Look how nice the access covers, plastic around all this.
It's just well thought out.
In ball joints on everything, but we are seeing more of that. Yep. I think what's happening is that XFly is, I would say the XFly is every bit as good, if not better, than FMS. Every time we've seen them. The one complaint I've had on XFly is, not on this plane by the way, is that sometimes they don't put flaps on planes that I feel like deserve flaps, because they're very good planes. And we have just demonstrated how easy it is to add them. Just the other day, I think you guys just actually saw the video release for the FMS. It was a Ranger 850. And, or no, excuse me, not the 850. We did that on the 1220.
Yeah.
An awesome flying plane. It's so easy to see in the air. Great beginner plane. A little bit more complicated than doing some ready to fly that's available. But I love that plane, and we ended up adding Crow to it, and boy, does it slow down. It's so much fun. Love flying it. Same thing would be so cool on this. I think the Crow would get this thing to where it would slow down, and it would just almost just come in at that. This is a perfect glide ratio, and you could bring it in and stop it on a dime. That or throw an Avian ESC in here. Then you can run your 631 or your 630, and you could really get a nice setup, because then you'd have thrust reverse and everything just like on the Viper jet. So as you know, everything we review, we want you guys to be able to pick what you like and not necessarily what I like, because there is a lot of subjectivity in this. When you start getting into genuinely solid, good planes that are 600 bucks are usually pretty good, okay? Now, there are more expensive and there's a lot cheaper, but I can tell you this, when you start spending that kind of money, they're pretty much all good to a degree. What's not good about them is what helps to distinguish between this and the Viper, and between the Viper and the F8, you know, the F-16 80 millimeter. And I always slip up and say that, sorry guys, I know the difference between the F-18 and F-16, but just when you're looking at the echelon of planes, I feel like XFly has been catapulted into the mix with some of the best. Now, do you love this plane as much as you love an F-18? I don't know. I guess that's your taste. Do I love the F-18 better than this? No, because the F-18 doesn't work as good. It's an 80, is it an 80 millimeter? It is an 80 millimeter. It's a battery eater. You got to be careful about that. Plus, that one could use a little extra power. Probably 25% extra power would make that a great plane instead of just a good plane, okay? This plane has good power. The cheaters will buy you a little bit extra power, sorry buggies. And what's the difference between this and the F-16, okay? This is the no BS review evaluation. I like the F-16 a lot better. Why?
Personal preference.
Because it's beautiful,
yeah,
and I love the way it looks. Does that mean it's a better flying plane? I don't know. There's no flaps on it, and that is a factor. And yes, you can land this thing twice as easy as the F-16. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? Depends on if you want a challenge or if you want, I don't want to have a heart attack every time I put it down. So that being said, the F-16 with thrust reverse is awesome. The F-16 with full functioning flaperons and tailerons, pretty awesome. But that being said, is there anything wrong with this? No, this thing is in the same echelon, if not slightly better in certain areas, slightly worse in others. They are right next to each other. So if you like the way this thing looks, if it is your taste, there's absolutely nothing that should be stopping you from getting this, okay? Now, compared to the Viper 90, I feel like the 90 is just enough more plain that it's sort of not, it's not in the same echelon, just for the simple fact that it is a bigger plane that has a bigger power system, and therefore it's unfair to the Sirius to put it directly up against it. Now, if you want to talk strictly price point, these would be contenders in that price point. What do I like better? The Viper jet.
Yeah.
Because I like the looks of that particular plane better. Again, it comes back to, what do you guys like? We're not here to pick a winner out of 5 planes. We just want you to be happy and be flying. And we want you to know the best place that you can pick up a plane like this that you're gonna love. So stay tuned, help support us, buy from the links below. Patreon, PayPal is also available if you don't like that. We'll have links for you. Come back for more. Thanks for watching.